What free things online should everyone take advantage of? Oh, this one's going to be good. Story 1. Imagine being the guy who has to caption college lectures. You could basically get multiple degrees just by doing your job and paying attention. Keep dreaming. You caption these videos in 1-minute segments along with 10,000 other M-Turk crowdsource workers earning about 10 cents per minute of labor. I'm not joking. I tried M-Turk for a while but could never find any transcription work like this. Just garbage surveys that took at least 10 minutes for less than 10 cents usually. Quickly got disillusioned with that site. If anybody knows of a decent audio transcription only, or at least readily available site that pays out, I'd like to hear it, please. Picture transcribing would be alright too, I suppose, but I'd find that a bit too boring since that's usually super tiny snippets and sometimes numbers and symbols and not words. I type decently fast and could use whatever side cache I can get right now. Edit. Weird wording. Edit. The next day. Holy hell, I didn't expect anybody to give a care. Thanks for all your answers. I'm not replying to everyone, but I'll try to reply to the ones who PM'd me. I'm seeing a lot of responses on rev.com, so I'm definitely going to give them a look, among others. PM me. I work for a place that gives you the whole damn video and you caption the whole thing. Generally pays 50 to 90 cents per minute caption, depending on the video. There's also just plain audio transcription, but I don't do that work. Edit. Whoa, I got a ton of PMs from this. I'm sending everyone that PM'd me details on this, so if you want the details, be sure to PM me. I might not get to everyone today, but I'm trying to. I'm pretty much just copy and pasting the same message to most of them. A little detail. Yes, it is work from home, and yes, you set your own hours. This job really helped me when I was in hard times. There have been 2 times in my life where I found myself suddenly and unexpectedly unemployed, and since I live in a rural area and there's not much need for IT personnel around me, it took a long time to find a job. I worked for this place full-time while looking for a new job, and it was fantastic. I loved it. I even talk about it in job interviews now. Anyway, if you're interested and you PM me, you'll get the details. I hope you're accepted, and I wish you best of luck. I really hope it helps you as much as it's helped me. That's fracking insane. I'm completely sympathetic to those with disabilities. I have numerous folks in my own family who benefit from the ADA, but if the most cost-effective solution to comply is to delete a massive free resource, you've helped no one. That's not a reasonable accommodation you're asking for. Sometimes it just fracking sucks to be deaf or blind, and it's nobody's fault. I was looking at some of this a while ago, looking at some of these transcription ones. It's kind of interesting. I'm just glad that we live in a world where this kind of thing is available to people who are in remote places or maybe who have social anxiety, who definitely want to work, but don't really care to be around people, or it's just mentally taxing to be around people. It's a good resource. Story 2. Credit to someone else on a post about the best free software out there. I went through most comments and summarized and categorized all software mentions. It's probably not exhaustive. Here it is. 2D editing, Krita, OpenTunes, InfantView, GIMP, Pixlr, Inkscape, Paint.net, Metabang, 3D editing, FreeCAD, Blender, Magicavoxel, MakeHuman, Fusion 360, SketchUp, SolidWorks or Inventor, students only, video editing, DaVinci Resolve, Handbrake, SFM Source Filmmaker, Lightworks, Video Player, VLC, SM Player, Kodi, Plex, Pot Player, IINA for Mac OS only, Physical Simulation, Algodo, Streaming, OBS, Streamlabs OBS, Audiobook or ebook, Chapter and Verse, Calibre, Networking, FreeNAS, pfSense, OpenVPN, Nmap, Compression, 7-zip, Code Editor, VS Code, Notepad++, Vim, Sublime Text, Atom, IntelliJ IDEA, Office, LibreOffice, Audio, MuseScore, Audacity, OS and infrastructure, Apache, Linux, Ninite, browser, Firefox, Chrome, Brave, VM, VirtualBox, Proxmox, Torrent, QBitTorrent, Sonar, Radar, Sabin ZBD, Maps, Google Maps, Google Earth, OpenStreetMap, languages, R, Python, game engines, Unity, Unreal, Godot. Edit, added Fusion 360, R, Python, Unity, Unreal Engine, Godot, Sublime Text, Paint.net, SolidWorks, Metabang, OpenStreetMap, PodPlayer, and fixed SketchUp position as per comments. Thanks for the silver. Edit, added Brave browser, IntelliJ ID, Atom, Lightworks, and IINA. IINA. That is a lot of them. Mostly that is a good list. For game engines, no. If any of you have not followed, Unity did some really shady stuff with introducing a very greedy royalty, like a payment per runtime, per install of a game. And they've walked back on it, but it's just destroyed a lot of the credibility. Godot is the choice that everyone seems to be moving towards, and I think that's getting a lot of press right now, and I think it's going to get a lot more development, and that one's completely open source. Story 3. Skiplagged.com for flights. It's so good that United sued them and lost. They essentially exploit the pricing manipulation that airlines use. Example, if you want to go from Phoenix to Atlanta, sometimes a ticket from Phoenix to Fort Lauderdale connecting through Atlanta is cheaper. This website finds those flights for you. Just don't check in a bag. Edit, a succinct article highlighting tips and risks. Summary, use it sparingly and you'll be good. Edit 2, the website's creator didn't ask me anything 5 years ago. I used to work for American Airlines. If you do this, make sure you have a completely separate reservation for your return flight. Once you miss a segment of your flight, airlines will usually cancel any other flights on that reservation because they assume you won't make them either. Yeah, my girlfriend almost got stranded in Brazil because of this. She missed her connecting flight and had to buy a new one-way ticket into Brazil. No one told her her entire trip had been canceled. Bought a one-way ticket to the international airport in Brazil 9 months later to come home when her return flight would have left from and found out it had been canceled. Didn't have enough money for an entire new ticket, $2,000-ish. Luckily, talked it down to like $600 with customer service, but it was some hogwash. That should be illegal. No kidding. I paid for it. It's none of your business if I don't use it or not. I get it when it comes to taking up space, see it on a plane, but deity damn, how hard it is to email or call the customer to confirm. I don't see how taking up space on the plane has anything to do with it except for the airline's hideous practice of overselling flights. It's the overselling that should be illegal. You should be able to pay the face value and buy every seat on a flight and have it fly empty if you have the money and the whim. It's insane that the airlines claim to sell more seats than they have just because a few people usually cancel. Yeah, I agree that overselling should be it should be illegal. It's just caused too much hassle for people. I'm really glad that there's something like Skiplag that exists where we can take our own actions against their hogwashery, or that other kind of statement. It wouldn't be something that I would use for overseas stuff, definitely. That stuff has to be set in stone, especially if you're taking a different flight, especially if you're taking a connecting flight. Oof. Story 4. Top Class Actions. Basically a site that lists active class action lawsuits you might qualify for. I've used it for trivial things like suing Red Bull for a free case because it didn't give me wings, but on a serious note, it made me aware of the suit against Equifax for leaking my data. That should be a settlement worth over $100. It's a cool way to hold corporations semi-accountable and score some money or freebies for any wrongdoing that went under the radar. Too long didn't read? It's literally free legal money. It won't be because of some hogwash around how it was set up. There's a cap on how much total money will be given, and that amount will be divided between all the people who signed up. The settlement set aside a total of $31 million to give to affected people who signed up to receive the $125. That means that you'd only get the full $125 if 248,000 people or less signed up. There were 147 million people who qualified and could have signed up. If even just 1 million people signed up, then you're only getting $31. If 5 million people signed up, only about 3.4% of those affected, then you're only getting $6. They stated that signups were overwhelming, so I bet the number was even higher than that. Too long didn't read? You'd be lucky to get $5 from it. I'd bet somewhere around $1. In other words, the Equifax settlement that exposed you to identity theft will likely give you less value than the Red Bull settlement that gave you a case of Red Bull for free, which is a giant fracking middle finger to all of us poor people. Story 5. I recently found this from another online forum, melody.ml. Use it. I swear, you can isolate vocals, drums, bass from MP3 files. You'll need an email address to download the isolated files. Instead of using my own email, I just used a 10-minute mail and downloaded it that way. Today, I isolated the vocals from a song and it's surprisingly good quality, but you can only use it from desktop. It's not meant for mobile use. Enjoy. It's great, but the files export in horrible quality. I was able to mess around with a splitter code in Google Collaboration to get good quality exports. It took a while since I had no coding knowledge, but it was still great to have it completely in a browser. Also, the website does work on mobile, at least when I tried it. Edit. They now make you pay for doing more than 2 songs. Is there a website that does it for free? I feel like all the decent free stem separating sites eventually make you pay. Alternatively, vocals can be added or removed using Audacity. I've used it to create karaoke tracks for doing vocal covers too, and it's surprisingly effective. A guide on removing vocals from a song using Audacity takes only a few minutes, and it lists a URL. There's also an official Audacity documentation page dedicated to both isolating and removing vocals from audio too, and there's another URL. Sadly, not as easy a solution as having some site or app to process it, but hopefully it comes in helpful. Story 6. Library Genesis, a great place to look for and download college or university textbooks for free, as well as other books. Edit. As commenters have pointed out, it has unfortunately been blocked in some countries. A VPN or Tor could help in this case. Edit. Remove direct link. My apologies. I will always upvote LibGen. My first 2 semesters of college, I went through Amazon or on-campus bookstore and then discovered LibGen because of online sites, meaning I bought maybe $150 worth of textbooks for the rest of my undergrad, totaling only about $500-ish for all 4 years. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for everyone since more classes are having online access codes nowadays. My roommate was spending around $1,000 on textbooks a semester solely for the access codes because his business classes all use them. Edit. Mods removed the original comment because it linked directly to the website, which is probably against the site's TOS. It's called Library Genesis, so hopefully it isn't hard to find. Alternatively, PM me and I can PM you. Edit 2. Just to clarify, this is piracy and not just cheap textbooks or anything. And there is the chance that they won't have your book or the link for the download doesn't work. Keep trying the provided mirrors if one doesn't work. There used to be a saying in the early days of online piracy and torrents. Information wants to be free, yo. Sounds like Library Genesis is following through with this. $1,000 on textbooks a semester. I mean, education is expensive enough as it is. You don't need to be piling on more charges, man. I mean, this is even greedier than loot boxes in video games. Story 7. Your local library almost certainly allows you to access free ebooks and audiobooks via Overdrive and the Libby app, Hoopla, or BorrowBox. All you need is a library card and a PIN, which you'll probably need to get in branch. But really, Is there ever a bad excuse to go to a library? The selection might be limited, but if you want to splash out a little, you can get a year's out-of-state access to Brooklyn Public Library for $50. That's not as good as free, but it can be a lot cheaper than using Audible, especially if you go through audiobooks at a real rate. Your local library likely also has DVDs that you can take out. If your library is really up to speed, they'll have an app that you can use to request items from other libraries in their system, and they'll alert you when the items are in. If your library is really up to speed, they might have maker facilities with things like a 3D printer. I've done a lot of 3D printing by going to a library, finding a pattern on Thingiverse and printing it. They even supply the filament, so it's entirely free. Story 8. I fly a lot for work. I received a cease and desist letter for doing this, saying I would be banned from the airline. Be careful with this one. Oh wow, that's crazy. It's so dumb. If airlines as private businesses are allowed to price fares as they please, customers should be able to buy fares and use or not use individual legs as they please. In your case, with all the flights, wouldn't racking up the miles with standard tickets behoove you instead of skip-lagging anyway? Scott's Cheap Flights is another service like this. It specifically scans for extreme discounts, mistakes, and flights at odd hours. It'll email you discounts it finds for the destinations and departure locations you mark. So if you want to fly out of LAX to Paris, Dubai, New York, or Budapest, it will not be sending you info on cheap flights to buttfrack nowhere, Indiana. Recently found August or September dates for a flight to Tokyo from Denver for around $450 to $500, when they were at best usually around $1,200, and around a third of them were direct flights, not a parade of layovers.
Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 9. 1AAuto.com. It's a car parts supplier, but their videos show exactly what tools you'll need, what parts you need, and how to do a repair yourself. Great money saver if you don't know much about mechanics. Someone I knew was going to get messed over by their mechanic. $700 for a water pump replacement. Showed them that, they did it themselves for $30. It makes it quicker too, knowing what tools you'll need ahead of time for your particular car. Edit. I agree, they're not the best for parts. This was just about their videos. For parts, rockauto.com is great. If you need an item quicker and have an advanced auto nearby, order online and pick up in store. They almost always have a coupon online for at least 20% off, which you can apply and pick up in store around 30 minutes later, yet save quite a bit versus just going in and buying. Last edit. For those that are not mechanically inclined and do not want to mess with it, use repairpal.com when you receive a quote and make sure the price is reasonable. It will give you a pretty general idea of what you should be paying in your area. It's not 100%, but will help keep you from getting ripped off. Unfortunately, there are a lot of shops that will take advantage of a situation. Not saying all, of course, but that way you will know for sure. Thanks for the silver as well. Story 10. Most large universities have their courses online for free, like MIT OpenCourseWare. UC Berkeley used to have 20,000 videos of their courses available for free online, but 2 employees from another university removed them by suing under the Americans with Disabilities Act, complaining that they didn't have closed captioning and therefore discriminated against deaf people. All 20,000 videos were deleted. Wow, I just looked up the story. That's insane. Thankfully, the videos were archived in several places and are still available online. Could you please provide a link? Haven't tried it, but it looks like they should still be available. Edit. It does work. The videos don't seem to be organized very well, though. Story 11. My 90s TV. This is more of a novelty website, but I think it's pretty cool and you can lose yourself for hours with nostalgia. It basically uses YouTube videos to simulate watching TV in the 90s, and you can specify what year you want and what categories you want to see when you change channels. There's also a My 80s TV and a My 70s TV. This is so freaking cool. I love how seamless it is. When flipping through channels, it picks random videos based on the channel programming, and it doesn't always start at the beginning, just like regular scheduled TV. Awesome. Edit. I've been checking this out only for a few minutes, but already have been introduced into new music I love. that I've never seen previously, and also seen commercials for movies I want to watch, also that I've never heard of before. Totally different way of traversing the YouTube rabbit hole. Story 12. Terms of Service. Didn't read. A free site for people too lazy to read the entire Terms of Service. Edit. This is a crowdsourced project, so please do contribute if you can. Terms may be changed any time at their discretion, without notice to the user. Just saw this. This should be illegal. Yep. Especially considering that you'd still be in violation of the TOS if they changed it and you didn't read it again because you didn't get noticed of the change in the first place, because it's up to you to keep abreast of the changes. That's literally the reason they have it that way, so they can lay down the law on any arbitrary point they want. Story 13. uBlock Origin. Best ad blocker by a mile. Websites are 95% ads and 5% content nowadays, but uBlock brings balance to the force. Works on all browsers, even mobile. Man, I love uBlock Origin. Unfortunately, it's not available on iOS because Apple uses a proprietary extension system. I use an ad guard for Safari on iOS. Works pretty well, but you gotta change the browser handler inside apps to Safari or in-app Safari. If I had to use the internet without uBlock, I'd probably just go outside and get proper hobbies and friends. Story 14. Canadians get a free Canada flag that was flown on Parliament Hill. Only a 40-year wait, though. That wait time is up significantly. Last time I checked, it was something like 92 years. I stand corrected. According to the Government of Canada website, the Peace Flag wait time exceeds 100 years. The lesser requested other Parliament flags also exceeds 100 years. Quick fix? Install 30 flagpoles in Capitol Parliament Hill. I'd hope that would reduce the wait time. I assume there's a couple of flagpoles right now and they give away the flag after it flies for a day. So 30 should decrease the wait time significantly, I'd hope. Obviously no quick fence on the Pence one, unless they want to switch the flag halfway through the day or fly 2 flags at once. Story 15. If you're in the USA and you earn less than a certain amount of money, currently $69,000, you can use the same software to file your taxes for free. The system is called Free File, and companies that sell you tax software are trying very hard to make it difficult to find. Don't let them. The US needs to fix that. In Sweden, the government basically does it for us and we just approve it or make some changes if needed. Most don't change anything, only in certain cases. Most people just click approve and move on with their lives. You can log in and do it in 2 minutes. This thread has made me believe that the world is a fraction of a slight better than I thought it was. Story 16. Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. If you have a child younger than 5, they send an age-appropriate book once a month. It's amazing. I've had so many books for my daughter since I signed up and she loves getting them in the mail. It's not available everywhere, but it's worth checking to see if it's available in your area. Thank you for the silver. Much appreciated. This one is really incredible. Such a diverse range of books, from classic stuff like The Little Engine That Could to new stuff like Llama Llama. It's pretty amazing what she's done. Story 17. Flight Radar 24. It allows you to see plane traffic live. This site nearly single-handedly cured my fear of flying. I'm happy to hear that. How did it cure it exactly? Maybe it's because you now can see how many planes fly each day and realize that the odds of a crash are very low? Basically, exactly that. Watching all the planes, all the thousands of planes at once, not crashing day after day. I went from not flying for 10 years to moving to a different hemisphere. I don't know if I would have been as calm about it if not for that app on my phone. Sure, nerves still come up every time, but it's nothing like it used to be. Story 18. Astronomers here, you can look up all the satellites flying over your house tonight, including the ISS, Hubble Space Telescope, those pesky Starlink satellites, and whatever your heart desires, complete with star maps and precise timing. The website is called Heavens Above, and there is an Android app, but unfortunately no iOS one last I checked. For iOS I use Sputnik, which is free and tells me the ISS and Hubble passes overhead. It should be noted, by the way, that many, if not most of these objects are visible even in a city if on a good pass right above you. So out and see some cool stuff. Story 19. Windy.com. weather report with good graphics. 10minutemail.com, quick use and throw emails for signing up to smeggy sites. PCPartPicker.com, if you're into PC building. OpenCourser.com, search for courses online. FlightRadar24.com, track flights. We'll add more once I find them in my bookmarks. Story 20. Maybe not everyone, but for students, Zotero is a lifesaver. It will store your sources, import them to a bibliography in whatever citation style you need, and even create in-text citations in your paper. It saves hours of work. Zotero.org. Where was this when I was doing my research article? Story 21. NobaProject.com. It's a website that has compiled psychology topics into easy-to-read modules. They've been compiled by psychology university professors to help facilitate free education for students. You can even download the ones you're interested in as a PDF as many times as you want. All of this is for free. Story 23. Open Learn from UK's Open University. Free courses for all levels of study, samples of university materials, study skills and tie-ins to BBC documentaries, everything under Creative Commons license so you can use it as you see fit. Story 24. Photoforensics.com. Want to know if that pic on that front page of that site is photoshopped? Take some skill to learn how to use it, but they have tutorials on the site. Story 25. Freecycle.org. It's literally people giving away stuff they don't need or want anymore that they can't or don't care enough to sell.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.